everybody. Welcome to another episode here on the Raspy Dispatcher. If this is your first time joining me, thank you so much and welcome. My name is Ashley, currently a 911 dispatcher out in the state of California. On today's segment, Let's Talk Dispatch, we're going to be doing just that. And joining me today to chat is Stacy Miller. She's a customer success manager at RapidDeploy. And not only does Stacy work for a company that's doing great things like providing real-time data during emergencies and hoping to reduce emergency response time, she's also has over 20 years of experience as a dispatcher and a dispatch supervisor. So she's definitely got some great experience to share with us today. So I'm excited and so grateful to have her with us. So I'm gonna bring her on right now. Hi, Stacy.
Hi, Ashley. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
So I just, tell us about your experience in emergency communications and in your current role with RapidDeploy.
Sure. So I started back in dispatch, also here in California, when I was 23 back in 97. So I did it for almost 24 years.
Wow.
Went through so many changes in technology. Technology was stagnant for so long in 911. I started on cards and a real phone, yeah, right? Crazy. A real and a phone that rang, So no ACD, no computer phone. So I did it for a long time. I loved that work. It's challenging, but it's also rewarding, as you know. So getting towards the end of my career there, I just wanted to transition to something that I still was part of the mission, right? The mission of 911 and supporting the people that I cared about, like the citizens, but also the other dispatchers, right? As you know, we're family in there. So I wanted to still do something that still benefited them. And I used RapidDeploy radius mapping when I was in my center. I learned about it in 2019 here in California. And I just dove in. I thought this is a game changer for me, going from cards with landlines where we knew where everybody was, Annie Alley, landline, everything telling you exactly where people were, to transitioning to cell phones when cell phones became popular and you didn't know where anyone was. We're dealing with just phase one, not having an idea. And I think that for the public, that's not common knowledge. The public knows what we see on TV, right? So I think with RapidDeploy, it was just the company I wanted to work for. Our mission is to reduce response time or save lives by reducing response times, right? So to me, that's what we do in dispatch, right? I mean, that's our number one goal, is to provide help, save lives. So I just had a personal connection from having used it, and that's why I wanted to be here.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. So you mentioned your guys' mission there is to save lives by reducing response times. And you're correct. I think a lot of people have a misconception about, hello, 911, just track my phone. And if I could, I would, right?
Right, definitely.
So can you tell us a little about how the company got started and kind of how they came up with this idea, I guess?
Yeah, sure, definitely. I mean, so I think it's all stems from, that mission statement. It's so basic, but it's also, it just kind of really encompasses everything. And our two founders come from a first responder background. And we started in South Africa, but that's where our roots are. But I think we're making our mark, in the US now. I think that it's a little crazy, right, to think a South African company has become so, I think, commonplace in the 911 field. I think if you've heard about us, you know what we do. But I think that they also wanted to bring this technology to PSAPs of all sizes. I think a lot of times we see big cities and things like that, they tend to have the money and resources to get new technology. We wanted to develop something that is accessible to PSAPs of all size. The percentage of smaller PSAPs across the country is a lot larger than the percentage of big PSAPs. So we wanted something that was accessible to if you have 2 seats or you have, 200.
Yeah.
So that's another big component that's really important to us, that it's accessible to everyone, all
Yeah,
sizes.
no, that's awesome. It's because I came from a bigger agency. I just lateraled to a smaller agency.
Yeah. Oh, so you get the difference.
Oh, mind blown. Like I
Yeah.
went from, 10 call takers, 4 radio channels, and some other like hotspot positions to 2 seats, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
and it's different, and
mhm,
I think a lot of times small centers get they just don't have the access or the resources. Maybe you have a smaller IT department even, or
mhm.
it's just I think it's hard. So, and it's just like you said, mind blown, totally different. My agency was a JPA, so we dispatched law, fire, medical,
Mhm.
and we had 8 people on at a time, but everybody was doing, law, fire, medical, different things.
Yeah.
So it
Mhm.
wasn't like what you said at your bigger agency where you had 4 primary radio channels just for one agency. So
Yeah,
it's definitely different. Each PSAP operates differently. So
exactly.
that's
Oh yeah.
another challenge. Yeah.
For sure. Um, so we talked a little bit about the myth of that we can just track people and my location and just map me. Um, Can you explain a little bit how RapidDeploy utilizes the technology that they've created to help narrow down a caller's location? Because I know for me at my center, that's one of the big things that we do utilize the service for is to help narrow down those locations when we can't get a good one initially.
Right, sure. So I think one of the biggest things what we provide in our mapping is that we connect straight to your CPE, straight to your phone.
Mm,
So we're going to pull your traditional Annie Alley phase 1 and phase 2, and then we ingest that data alongside that enhanced location accuracy data that we're receiving from the signal on your phone.
mm,
So that Apple or Google signal that's giving your location, you're seeing them side by side, where before you were only seeing that wireless phase 1 or phase 2. So
mm.
we, partner with Google and Apple to get those signals directly into our map, so you guys
Okay.
can see them and have that single workflow. You're not having to
Mm,
see it over here, Annie Alley, see it over here for your signal. Um,
okay.
the one thing, I think for the public that might be watching your podcast isn't as familiar, with some of these terms I'm saying, but I think one of the easiest ways to think about it is that data on your phone that drives a lot of the modern things you do with your phone, ordering food, ordering a car, having, things delivered directly to you. That data
Mm.
signal is what we're seeing to tell 911 where you are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that really made it clear for me too. That's a good way
Okay.
to think about it. Yeah,
Well,
no, that's because now when I
I
tell
just,
people, I can explain it a little better.
yeah. Well, and I think that's what we forget, right? We're so deep into 911 that, again, going back to what you said, the public a lot of times only sees what is broadcast on TV, which
Hmm. Hmm.
isn't necessarily the real world. I mean, all TV, right?
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
That's our
Awesome.
escape.
Yeah. True. True. Um, Now I know one thing with RapidDeploy, or at least depending on how the comm center that you work in operates, is there's a meters that usually comes through. How accurate would you say is the technology with locating a good location for these folks using that
Yeah.
data that we're able to grab from the devices?
Yeah, I don't have a number to give you, just because there's so many factors that vary
Yeah.
based on, we take in the data and we give you what is given to us. I have a great
Mhm.
example, just something from when I was in the center using the product.
Okay.
We had a 911 call. A woman was, she was, it was what we call, I mean, as you know, like an open line or 911,
Mhm.
where you can hear something going on, but the caller's not speaking directly to you.
Yeah.
And so obviously some type of distress, we couldn't tell what it was. The address that was given was her exact home address, and this is
Oh,
just
wow.
in this example. But even more importantly, I think for the first responders is the way our pins plot on the map. We could see on the map that she was in the backyard of the home, not,
Oh,
the map layer that we were using. You could see the outlay of the house, not the floor plan, but the house on the map with the backyard. And
yes.
we could see she was in the backyard, moving
Oh,
around in the backyard, obvious distress. And so we started law enforcement, like I think any agency does on that type of call. You don't know what it is, so you start law enforcement. But the fact that we also dispatch for fire and medical, she was saying some things that led us to believe that there could be a medical need as
mm-hmm.
well. And
Mm-hmm.
so we turned on the Google satellite layer within the map
Okay.
and could see that there was a pool. So
Oh, wow.
we always say in dispatch, don't assume, but we were assuming in a good way in this sense of the things she was saying, we thought maybe this is a medical emergency related to the pool.
Yeah.
And because we had that Google satellite map right there in radius where the pins were, putting all
Mm-hmm.
the pieces together, because that's what we do as dispatchers, right? You just
Yeah,
put
definitely.
all the pieces together. And so we took that Google satellite, we started medical, and this call actually didn't have a good outcome as far as for those folks.
Mm-hmm.
But I talked to the sergeant after that call, and we were able to tell them they're in the backyard. So as soon as this is the address, they're in the backyard. So as soon as
Mm-hmm.
they pulled up on scene, they didn't waste, because seconds count, right? Every second
Definitely.
counts. They
Mm-hmm.
didn't waste seconds to a minute going up, knocking on the door, any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They immediately went to the backyard and attempted to render aid right away. And I talked to that sergeant afterward, and he said, we never would have got there that fast. With the traditional
Yeah.
technology of phase 1 or phase 2, you
Mm-hmm.
have you have just a radius,
Mm-hmm.
circumference, to check, and having seen those pins on that house and in the backyard. So can't give you an exact accuracy, but I can give you that as a great example of an
Yeah.
accuracy.
Oh, that's
So
a great example. Thank you so
yeah.
much for sharing that with
Oh,
me.
absolutely.
Um, yeah, it's going a little more into accuracy, and I know, and that in dispatch, there's a lot of gray area, right? There's no, there's
Oh,
not.
for sure, for
Well, I
sure.
imagine it's the same with the technology. Technology is awesome, but I'm sure there's a lot of little minuscule factors that come
Yeah, a
into
lot of
play.
nuance.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Does it matter what kind of cell phone you're using when you call?
Yeah. So obviously, when you straight up call 911, no, it doesn't matter what kind of cell phone you're using. Phase 1, the basic, which phase 1, again, for your viewers that aren't in dispatch, that's going to be the tower location, the cell tower that your phone hits on. That's phase 1. Phase 2 is going to give you some more accuracy. The data driven signals that we're taking from your phone, that obviously is associated with a data plan, right? So if you have what we call an NSI, those non-service initialized phones that
Mm-hmm.
don't have a data, or phones that have been the service plan turned off, right? As you
Mm-hmm.
know, any cell phone can call 911. It can be a phone without service, or not without service, excuse me, without a phone plan when I say service.
PSA, everybody, when you give
Right.
your
Do
old
not,
phone to your kid,
yes,
they are
they can
talking to me
call
at work.
911.
They
Yes,
are calling me to see how I'm doing.
exactly, exactly. So if we call you back and you're thinking this phone has no service, or well, I guess it doesn't even ring, right? We try to call back, it doesn't
Yeah,
ring. So,
yes.
but fun fact, so that phone, you would not get that enhanced data location because there's no data associated with the phone to,
Mm-hmm.
to push through that technology. However, if they are on Wi-Fi, then, just like if you have an iPad that you have on Wi-Fi, but you don't have it associated with the plan, as we all know, you can use iMessage, you can do those other things. So,
Yeah,
and there's a possibility. I mean, and I always like to say a possibility, right?
yeah.
Because I mean, nothing is absolute. Somebody could have their data
Mm-hmm.
services turned off on their phone. They could be in poor service. There's all of
Mm-hmm.
those things. So I just think the possibility of finding somebody's location is, well, it's night and day from when I started. You're probably a lot younger. You're probably a lot younger than me. So
In 97, I was 7. So,
yeah, so well, quite a bit younger.
love it. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Um,
Oh, can I add? Sorry, I just wanted to
oh,
add one
of
thing.
course.
I just think that kind of talking about the time difference, everything initially in 911 and our world was so voice centric, right? We made
Mm,
phone calls, we had answering machines, we left voicemails, all those things. And just outside of 911, we've transitioned to data centric, right? With
mm-hmm.
texting and pictures and all these other ways that we communicate that aren't necessarily making a phone call, dialing in by voice. So I think that is what we're trying to deliver and be part of, is that transition
Mm-hmm.
from voice centric to data centric information delivery.
Okay, perfect. No, that makes complete sense. I mean, when I talk to even my coworkers who have been doing this for such a long
Yeah.
time, and I posted a picture on my Instagram of an old like desk that was just this box computer,
Oh, wow.
and
Yeah.
the good old paper and pen. And it's just like
Yeah.
I don't know, being someone who grew up, and with technology really pushing through barriers, I couldn't even imagine doing this job on like wanting to do this job without the technology because of how challenging it would be,
Right. Because what happens when CAD goes down?
Oh, I cried,
Everybody freaks out.
and then
So, funny story about that, if you don't mind, I'll tell you because I did law, fire, medical. And so that meant I had to write 3 cards, like a
oh,
traffic collision, one for police, one for the fire department, one for the ambulance. And when we first got CAD, because I remember thinking, how in the world am I ever going to be able to talk to the caller, type it in faster that I can write 3 cards? And doesn't that sound crazy? Like,
that
that's
does sound
insane.
crazy.
That's
Yeah,
insane. Yeah.
yeah. Oh my
So it's
gosh.
just being open to the technology too, right? That's one of our biggest challenges, I
Mhm.
think.
Yeah, oh, I totally agree. Small changes can be, I think, a struggle for anybody,
Yeah.
but especially in this line of work where uh, doing things correctly, quickly
Yes.
matters. Seconds matter. So I think people who are doing these adjustments, getting new CAD systems, getting this new technology into their comm centers, there's definitely probably some growing pains
Yes.
with that. But whatever makes this job go faster, makes us get help there quicker, helps us get a better understanding of what is actually
Yes.
occurring. I'm all for learning that, implementing that, and getting that into more and more communication centers across
Yes.
the board.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. Speaking of the new technology, I would say one of the newer technologies that have come over the last couple of years that I've been doing this job is text to 911.
Yeah.
And that is, if you're not familiar with text 911, folks, it is exactly what it sounds like. You text 911 in the same way you text your family, your friends, instead of making the phone call. And that ability to text I think, is becoming more and more available, probably by the day,
Yes.
to people in smaller communities,
Yeah.
which is also beneficial, to the deaf, hard of hearing communities, speech impaired communities, in addition to situations where you don't feel safe making the voice call. Um, Now, dispatch disclaimer, if you're able to, we always prefer a call because of this technology that we're talking about. It helps
Call if you
a
can,
little
text if
more.
you
Call if you
can't.
can, text if you can't, totally. Um, and if you're not sure if text 911 is available in your area, if you do text 911, you should get a bounce back message saying, sorry, it's not here. Or you can also call your non emergency number for your local agency and they can tell you as well. Um, but can you tell us how RapidDeploy uses this text 911 software and how it works with the program?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you know, we're rolling out text to 911 statewide through California with our
Yes.
networking partner. It's all part of California's big next gen 911 project. I think we're so fortunate here in California to have Cal OES, our 911 branch, and everything that they are doing for next gen 911. I know that they are looked to from other states, even, as like a leader in next gen. So our text to 911 solution is an over the top solution, meaning it comes in through your radius mapping. So I think one of the nicest things about it is that it's not a whole new platform you're learning. Like for you, actually, at your agency, you guys already utilized our solution. So text to 911 is just a new component within that solution for you. We have rolled out to over half of the scheduled PSAPs that we're doing in California. And I think that, sorry, somebody at my door. I apologize. Little real life there. But I think
Amazon delivery.
I think with text to 911, kind of what you talk about is that that's the society we live in now, right? So for me, but even like you didn't necessarily grow up with it, but my son is 20. He knows nothing but texting. He can communicate through any platform he wants to, with never speaking. So I think as we see that the generation that this technology's been part of their lives, like grow as that generation gets bigger, I think we're going to see an increase in people using text to 911, right? And I think what differentiates us is you're going to see that text location, which is typically the tower, but since you're getting it through your radius, again, we're back to that enhanced location accuracy through that signal information as well. So I think that also having the text to 911 within a platform that you're already used to seeing it's nice too, right? It's one less sign on. Let's just be honest.
One less password to remember.
Yes. So so it's exciting. I think that again, we're back to change, right? And change is always hard, but I think the technology is here, and 911, we have to catch up to it in order to provide the best service for the citizens out there, because that's what they expect.
Yeah.
I think as a citizen, I can text you as my friend, I have that same expectation for emergency services, right? I expect that they are at the forefront of what's going on. That's the expectation, especially I think in a state like California.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. So we talked about mapping, text 911. Does RapidDeploy offer any additional technology within their platform that emergency dispatchers and first responders can utilize?
Yeah, so within Radius, we also have access. We partner with GM to offer the OnStar vehicle telematics.
Okay.
So you can get that OnStar crash data right in your Radius map. OnStar does have their own call center, that fields the calls from their customers, which, as you probably know, you've probably received one of those calls when you had it OnStar. But so it goes side by side with that phone call. You're now having that visual representation within your map, and all that data that they previously had to relay to you over the phone, you now have it visually, which I think is a lot more effective for getting the information to the first responders. You have it right there. You don't have to type in everything the OnStar dispatcher is telling you. We also partner with Rave, and Rave Mobile Safety. They have a couple of different solutions. Well, they have a lot of solutions, but what you can see from them in our Radius mapping is they have panic buttons. And so if you are a Rave customer, those panic button notifications can now come in right to your Radius map. And Rave also offers a smart 911 profile that citizens can put in their additional data, and that can be pulled into radius mapping as well. And then product wise, so those are just additional features in, our mapping, and we're working with other partners as well. I mean, we like to partner with leaders in the field, like OnStar, like Rave, people that have been doing it for a while, and data that we think is going to be effective for dispatchers. We don't just want to give you data that's meaningless to you. We want to give you meaningful data that enhances your workflow, enhances you getting the help to the first responders. And then product wise, we also have our analytics product. And our analytics is the call analytics. It also has a scheduling component to it, which I think, as we know in dispatch, staffing challenges. So I think the staffing scheduling component is, I think that is an excellent feature. I just, to be able to take your call data that is being ingested and look at that and help you staff your center efficiently with probably the understaffed amount of people you have. I just think it's a cool feature, coming from the PSAP and being a supervisor.
To be a supervisor. We need more people. This is why. Yeah, that's awesome.
Exactly, right. Because it's always having to show your board or show your chief or things like that. But no, we're not making it up. Tuesdays between noon and 7 p.m. for some reason is crazy busy. We're not making it up. Yeah.
For sure. Having all these years in the field, even outside of Rapid Deploy, what is one lesson that it has taught you that you think everyone can learn from, whether it be a citizen or someone who's getting into dispatch? A lot of people who follow me are aspiring dispatchers and just getting into it. So what do you think is one lesson that you could share or something you've learned over the years?
I gotta narrow it down to one.
Just one.
So, I mean, I think this would resonate with dispatchers and the public alike. And even the field units that we're dispatching for, is that if we don't know where you are, we can't help you, and I think that, and it gives me goosies, like when I say it, because, and I swear this is like in my heart, I'm not being corny. That's what truly resonated with me about Rapid Deploy. I'm pretty passionate, and I wanted to work somewhere where I believed in it, like not just from my job, but like in my heart, right? Like I wanted to, I've been on the other end of the phone, and I'm sure you have too, with somebody that needs help, and whether they can't articulate it or they don't know, or, there's other factors. I mean, it's such a helpless feeling that this person needs help and you can't get help to them, right? So, I just think it all starts with that. If we don't know where you are, we could have all the resources in the world to send to you, but we don't know. And then I'm gonna share a second little one.
Please do.
Only because, but just for I think for the people who want to be dispatchers, or the dispatchers that are your fans that listen to you, whether they're new or been doing it for so long. I know it's easier said than done, but just embrace the change if you can. I know it's so hard. In my career, I went through so many changes, like I said, from cards to first CAD to a phone that rang to ACD to, not doing EMD to having EMD, just all the things. And again, easier said than done, but I'm trying to help everybody learn from my mistakes, right? I was that person sometimes putting up the roadblock. No, that's dumb. We don't want that. We don't do that. But if you can open yourself up to it, I think that you really can see some great things and really do some great things, and have a lot of this technology, I think, can help people really give them that greater satisfaction when they do their job. I mean, there's no greater satisfaction, I think, as a dispatcher than you figured it out, right? Like you used the tools and the technology and the resources, and you figured it out and like actively contributed to helping someone. You didn't, like on a level that you maybe couldn't have 5 years ago or something. So yeah. So I'm sorry, I went over on one, but
that's okay. that really resonated. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
So lastly, to wrap it up, if someone wanted to find out more information about RapidDeploy, whether they're a citizen curious or a PSAP who's like, hey, maybe we should figure out if we can get that into our location. Where should they go? Where should they start? What does that look like for them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, of course, our website, rapiddeploy.com, that's a great one to start with. And then all of our social, we're on Facebook, LinkedIn. Why am I blanking? Instagram. But we're all over that, and we try to share stories that have been shared with us from our customers, because I think that resonates a lot, but we also all over our social, as far as like updates or, partners or things like that, new things that we're coming out with. It's all on our social.
Awesome. Well, again, Stacy, thank you so much for joining me today and chatting about dispatch. I've learned a lot, and I'm working with the system right now. So I really appreciate, really breaking it down, broad strokes, and really simplifying this, probably more than we are probably aware, high-tech technology that helps us out there in the field.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks.
Okay. Take care.
All right, everybody. That was Stacy Miller from RapidDeploy. Thank you guys so much for joining me and Stacy today talking about dispatch. Of course, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube so you don't miss out on any upcoming videos. And you can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, all the socials. Definitely make sure to check out RapidDeploy on those socials as well. And as Stacy says, those folks who are in the field embrace the change. That really resonated with me. As always, drop any comments, slide into my DMs on Instagram. I'm here for you guys as often as I can be. Until next time, stay raspy, everybody.